Hello, hello. Welcome back to my stream. We're gonna be playing ITYH again. We're gonna be continuing on from where we left off, which is the point where we went to Mr. Hobo's house, Osgood, Mr. Osgood, aka the declared hobo as by the game. We've gone to his house. We found out that in fact he lives in the rich people area of town. The lots at the top of the hill where rich people buy and that rich people buy and convert to summer homes. So he actually lives in that area as opposed to most students who stay in what is presumably the school dorms. We are going to demand an explanation for our hurt feelings because we asked him for one date. One date at the cafe and he stood us up. Right until closing time, there was no sign of him, and we are going to find out what makes this man so stuck up that he thinks it's perfectly okay to ignore a cute, innocent girl like ourselves. Actually, we're not all that innocent because we kind of stalked him, but innocent. Yeah, innocent with a capital I. We knock on the door. Silence. Silence. More silence. Maybe he didn't hear me. It's time to knock louder, girlie. We are going to bang on that door. We are going to kick his door in with our boots. Maybe step on him a little. Maybe. If he's into that, we can certainly step on him. Knock on the door. Silence. More silence. Why am I not surprised? Knock on the door. We are going to knock on the door until this man opens it. Silence. More silence. Knock. We knock. We keep knocking. We keep knocking. I must have clicked it like 7 times. Oh my god! Oh my god. Oh my god, what just happened? Oh. I was about to knock again when the door suddenly swung open a crack, showing a dark, dimly lit foyer with tall ceilings. The only way this could be scarier right now is if there's a jump scare. This game deserves its horror tag. Ivy would probably yell at me for what I am about to do. But I deserve an explanation from Osgood. Yes. Yes, we do, but I'm scared. Help. I I literally have goosebumps right now. We're not even past chapter 1. Crying. I'll leave as soon as I return his notebook. If he lets us go. If he lets us go. Having shoved what's left of my common sense to the side, I pushed the door wide open and went into the house. I feel like this is a majorly terrible idea. Like, we never throw common sense aside. Common sense is what tells you when things are bad. It's what tells you, hey, look, shit's gonna hit the fan, buddy. It's time to leave. And if you're gonna throw it to the side, help. Okay, silence. Well, Someone is definitely skimping on electricity bills. Usually, houses this size are fairly well lit. Okay, but if Osgood isn't here, who opened the door? Who? Like, it can't have been a ghost, can it? Maybe the horror tag is for ghosts. I've never been in one that's this dark. And if this picture were any darker, I think I would cry. Time to go find Osgood and deliver his notebook. Okay, we're gonna save. We're gonna replace the save file. I feel like I'm gonna die. Leave? I mean, we can leave now, but let's let let's let's hope nothing bad happens. We go to the hallway on this. Why is the sound so scary? It's just a door opening. Help! We went to the hallway on the left. There is one door on each side of the hallway, while portraits line the wall. Let's look at the portraits. Silence. They are definitely Osgood's family members, alright. All mysterious and good looking. Check the first door. Silence. The glass door is locked, but I could vaguely make out a piano through the door. It's probably a music room. A music room? Okay, this might be the entertainment hall.
Tomorrow is usual
Ah.
about 6:30. Yeah.
Okay.
6:30, 6:40.
Okay.
It's not too late for you.
Okay. I apologize. I had to BRB for a moment. But the mahogany door is locked. As I pushed it, a layer of dust clung to my hand. So this wing. No one has visited this wing in a while, or at least no one has visited this door for a while. Guess Osgood doesn't use this room very often. It's a mahogany door. Isn't mahogany redwood? What's behind a red door? Oh my god. What if it's a torture chamber? What if it's where he keeps his senpai shrine? Maybe he has skeletons in his closet. Literally. Help. There's nothing here. So let's go to the hallway on the right. Silence. Something straight out of a period drama. Dark. Foreboding. Empty. Definitely a room that will make the cover of Gothic Mansions monthly. So maybe Osgood is like, I don't know, secretly Count Dracula or something. Also, what's that smell? Oh my god! Shit, 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 that's a real person. Okay, calm down, calm down, calm down. I should probably go help. Footsteps, footsteps. Before I realized what I was doing, I had already hidden behind the curtains. I'm. Help. Despite my best efforts at playing dead, I was still painfully aware of the rapid beating of my heart. I'm I help. Through a hole in the fabric, I could see Osgood slowly approaching the gagged man. Close your eyes. Too scared to look away. We're gonna save. I I I will close my eyes. I instinctively squeezed my eyes shut and focused on counting my heartbeat. What is that sound? Was that the sound of someone choking? Was that the sound of someone dying? I, I oh my god. I could have sworn that was the sound of tape being ripped off. Don't think about it. That's literally me right now. Literally me right now, Camille. What a mood. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just don't think about it. I'm so scared. If we get out of here now, will will Osgood find us? Is he right there? But also if we stay in the curtains he might find us. Okay, we're gonna save. We're gonna save. I I will stay hidden in the curtains. I needed to get out of here, but to my horror, my body wasn't responding. In my desperation, I dug my nails into my thighs. The pain finally jolted my body awake. Feeling as if I had just emerged from a bathtub full of ice, I stumbled clumsily out of my hiding place. Does this choice not matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe. Because we said to stay there, but she left. A faint metallic smell tainted the air. The poor man was still sitting in the chair. He wasn't struggling. Get get the hell out of here. What was I thinking? I needed to get out here as quickly as possible. Keeping my footsteps as light as possible, I scrambled frantically out the dining room. I just need to make it to the front door without Osgood noticing. I I what what are the odds of that? I can do this. I can do this, but I really don't think we can do this. Unfortunately, before I could reach the front door, I noticed a familiar figure standing in the foyer. It's him, isn't it? It was Osgood. Based on how his shoulders were hunched over and the faint glow in the dark, he seemed to be texting someone. I forced myself to calm down and hid in the shadows. This is not good. What if he finds us? It's okay. I'm going to be okay. I don't know if we are going to be okay. I I just need to wait for him to leave. Silence. 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 After what seemed to be an eon, Osgood finally sighed and shoved the phone back into his pocket before starting to move upstairs. Just a few more seconds, then I can. This hyphen, this hyphen does not bode well. This hyphen does not bode well. I'm. My nap alarm, turn off. All's good. He found us. He found us. If if we had left the mansion at the start, maybe he wouldn't have found us, or maybe he would have already been there. I don't I don't know. Hello. I'm hello. I'm scared. I'm scared. um so to catch you up, what happened is we we didn't exactly break into this guy's house, but like we rang the doorbell like 10 times and the door opened. We walked in, we explored two hallways, heard him possibly kill a man, tried to sneak out of his house, and got caught because our phone rang. So now, so now, um, I have no idea what's going to happen. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, okay, okay. We just got bitch slapped. Uh, I hope that we only got bitch slapped. Uh, uh, oh my god. Get up. I. Is this. Is this. Okay, so we did not just get bitch slapped, we probably got slapped into unconsciousness. Maybe. Get up. He's pissed. He's pissed. He's pissed at us. Oh my god. Oh my god. Please don't come so close to me. I'm really scared. Please, please don't come so close to my screen. My hands and feet were bound. I was in the passenger seat of an unfamiliar car. No. Oh my god, this is kidnapping. Call 995. Call 999. Call the police. Holy shit. I just wanted to return your chemistry notebook. I just wanted to return your chemistry notebook. I'm crying. Everything outside of the window looked unfamiliar. The car air conditioner whirled in the background. The muzzle of a gun was pressed to my temple. The gun? Oh my god. Why does he have a gun? With his other hand, Osgood was fiddling with my phone. This is your guardian's contact, isn't it? He held my phone to my face. Mr. Buchanan's number glared at me in bright green. Yes? Good. Now listen very carefully to what I am about to say next. His tone was emotionless and businesslike, as if reciting a script that he had practiced 100 times. He's a serial kidnapper? A serial kidnapper? Is that it? Is that his secret? He he's a professional kidnapper who kidnaps people for money? I have already connected your phone to the Bluetooth. Right now, I want you to call your guardian and announce that you have suddenly decided to go on a road trip with your friend. Since finals are already finished, and there are only 2 weeks of school left, your guardian should believe you if you speak normally. But if you say anything out of line, he tapped the muzzle lightly against my temple. He's just threatening to shoot me. He's just threatening to shoot me. Like, holy shit, man. I know that I probably might have maybe broken to your house, but the door opened. And like, if it wasn't you, then who broke open the door? And like, it's not like I saw you kill anyway. There's plausible deniability there. Oh my god. I wanted to throw up. Yeah, yeah, Camille, mood. Big mood right now. I want to throw up too. Screaming, crying, throwing up. Now, are you ready to talk? No. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Can I give Osgood the most squeakiest voice ever because he's such a bastard? The whole Mickey Mouse thing, or the maybe the "It's a me, Mario" thing. Okay, no, 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 no. That's a bad idea. I would be laughing and crying myself to death as I play this game. I feel like Osgood deserves one of those mm, edgelord voices. You know, the world is my enemy type of voice. I'm the only sane person type of voice. Very, very edgy. The more edge, the better. And who's edgier than Xiao from Genshin Impact? Let's be real, that boy is all edge. He's a feral cat. Although Osgood is more like uh, a feral dog? Maybe? I mean, you can find dog in his name. But he's scary. He's a lot scarier than a feral cat. Like the man is literally holding a gun to our head. You know what? I am not gonna say no. I don't want to know what you're gonna do to me. There was really no way out. I had no choice but to play along. Exactly! What a mood! I don't want to be shot. I don't want to die. I'm ready. Osgood pressed the call button. The ringing sound of the phone echoed across the cramped space through the car's speaker. Silence. Hello, this is Emily Johnson, secretary of Mr. Buchanan. How can I help you? Hi, Miss Johnson. It's Camille. Camille! What a surprise. Mr. Buchanan will be pleased to hear from you. Somehow, I doubt that. Like this Mr. Buchanan man is literally trying to get with my dad. I don't think he likes having me around. I ignored her bullshit pleasantries and pressed on. Yeah, yeah. I'm just calling to tell Mr. Buchanan that I'll be leaving school a few weeks early. I see. May I ask who you are traveling with and how long you will be gone? Ivy Sue. I'm going with Ivy on a road trip. We don't know how long we'll be gone. Probably the entire summer. That was an easily verifiable lie. Mr. Buchanan wouldn't care enough to look deeper into it. but Ivy will eventually realize something is not normal. I half expect Osgood to catch on and shoot me, but he continued staring out the window. I will inform Mr. Buchanan as soon as possible. Will that be all? Yeah, that's it. Thanks. A deep wave of despair washed over me as Miss Johnson hanged up the phone. Shouldn't this be hung up the phone? Hung up? Hanged up? Schematics. I guess I was still subconsciously holding on to the hope that she would sense my distress telepathically. But it's probably for the better if she didn't, because, like, what's gonna happen is that Osgood is gonna shoot you in the car right where you sit, and that'll be the end of it. That went better than expected. Can you remove the gun now? Silence. A deep, brooding silence. This edgelord is thinking about it. Just one more thing. He pulled out a water bottle and handed it to me. Drink this. All of it. Why are you making me drink all of it? You are so suspicious, mister. So freaking suspicious, Mr. Edgelord. Like, is it drugged? Probably. With the 90% chance, it's 90% chance it's probably drugged. Now the question is, what is it drugged with? Sedative? Something that will make me lose my brain cells? I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know. Is he actually going to poison me? I don't think it's going to be poison, but maybe it is, because we just declared that we wouldn't be back for the entire summer, so no one's gonna look for us until, like, summer is over. It could be poison, because, like, a poison would be silent compared to, like, a gunshot. Refuse to drink it. We are a good child. We don't want to. Let's save over this. Yes. We are a good child. We don't want to antagonize our kidnapper. So let's be good. Swallowing my humiliation, I closed my eyes and let Osgood pour the water in my mouth. How are we not choking to death? Mr. Osgood, please, for the love of God, I don't want to die by choking. That's like, no. Please, no. The last thing I remember was Osgood finally removing the gun. So it was a sedative, a knockout agent. He probably doesn't want us memorizing the route of the car. Maybe. Silence. And this looks like an abandoned shack. It looks horrid. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where this is, but it looks rancid. Absolutely rancid. Ah, look at that face of horror. That's me right now. After realizing that I was still alive, I lurched toward the door like a drunken man. I don't think it's gonna be that easy, sweetheart. But before I could touch the doorknob, something forcefully tugged me back, and I fell to the floor. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Chains. Probably chains. The question is, where is it tied to? A chain. Like expected. An actual chain was around my foot. The sound effects are making me scared. The sound effects are literally making me scared. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, Camille, yeah, that's my reaction too. Observe your surroundings. Attempt to calm yourself down. Scream for someone. We we are we are going to observe our surroundings. I don't think there's going to be anything useful, but maybe we'll find more information. Squashing my urge to scream, I looked around. The room was quite bare. A mattress was pushed to the corner, while my chains were fastened to the wall. The window was boarded up with iron bars, and the curtains were the same color as the ones in the dining room. Surprisingly, there was also a bathroom connected to the room. Thank you, at least he allows us, or at least he intends to allow us to, to use the toilet for emergency reasons. Okay, attempt to calm yourself down. I think screaming for someone is the worst idea. There was a mattress on the floor, but I ignored it completely and went to the curtains instead. Thankfully, the chain was long enough. I crouched down and wrapped the velvet textured fab, blah! Wrapped the velvet textured fabric around my body so that it covered me completely. With my security blanket in place, I pulled my knees to my chest and finally allowed my body to start shaking. I need a weighted blanket right now. After a while, I finally felt better enough to get up. Please don't let him be in the room. Okay, let's continue observing our surroundings. I don't want to scream just yet. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, you're giving me attitude. I see, Camille. I see. You're giving me attitude. I don't want to do that right now. I see the attitude. Okay, girl. Okay. Let's scream then. Hello? Osgood? Anyone? Suddenly, somewhere below me, the piano started playing. I jumped and almost tripped over my chains. To be honest, it was a fluid performance. Not a single mistake was made. Talent. This is talent and hard work. I would applaud you if you didn't just kidnap me and dump me God knows where. Are we inside Osgood's home? Maybe we are. Maybe we are. Maybe that's why he had to drug us because the car made one big U-turn and went back to his home. Because he has a piano on the first floor. We could be on the second floor. Maybe. Maybe it's possible. It's certainly possible. Somehow it just made me more terrified. Yeah, I think I would be equally terrified if I could hear the piano, but thankfully there is no piano playing. Thankfully. Eventually, the piece changed, but the next song was exactly the same. Complicated and relentless. Tells you a lot about the player's personality. Complicated and relentless. Certainly sounds like Osgood is someone with psychological issues, if he's the piano player. but may- maybe, I mean, there's no one else. It probably is him. Every note diligently hammered out with precision and skill. And on it went. I don't know exactly how much time had passed, but at least 10 songs were played before the house fell silent again. That would depend on what songs he were playing. He was playing, because if he's playing like those typical K-pop, J-pop, cheesy pop, any song, like the song with lyrics and vocals, it would probably be like 4 minutes. Longer ones could take 6, but like 3 to 6 minutes. But if he's playing like, I don't know, a sonata, minuet, maybe not a minuet's kind of short, but like an entire concerto, then yeah, that would take hours. Let's hope. Let's hope it's not the latter. Door opened. The door opened. It's Osgood, and he's holding a box of cereal and a glass pitcher of water. Pressing myself against the wall, I stared at him. He ignored me, placed the food on the floor, and started to leave. What am I? What am I, a pet dog? Is he seriously treating me like a pet dog? Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait! I lunged at him and tried to grab his arm. He dodged me, but turned around. His face was as dispassionate as ever. Why are you keeping me here? Please let me go. I won't tell anyone. How long are you going to keep me here? Burst out in tears. I feel like maybe burst out in tears might be the worst option, because he might just say shut up and leave. I I think this is bad. This is just basically admitting that we heard him. Maybe the third one. It shouldn't be too long. It shouldn't be too long before what? You killing me? My thoughts exactly. I'm sure you've probably thought that as well. Like, with this kind of person, can you really trust him? I'm sure you've all had that thought in your heads as well. Seriously, it shouldn't be too long before what? Yeah, exactly. You're gonna kill us after that? If that's all, then I'll be taking my leave. And he's gone. Mr. Edgelord is gone. In the end, I still didn't get any useful information. Oh, okay, wait. Save, load. We're gonna change a question and see if we get other answers, okay? Yes. Why are you keeping me here? Silence. I don't know. You don't know? You kidnapped me because you thought my hair was pretty? You think I'm your soulmate? I don't know, man. This is like 50 shades of fucked up. 50 shades of fucked up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, why did they have to show that picture? Liar. If that's all, then I'll be taking my leave. Okay, we're gonna change another question. we're going to go back to the how long are you going to keep me here question in the end because I want to see where that takes us, but I want to see how he reacts to the other options. Please let me go. I swear I won't tell anyone. No. Look, you said no, but when I picked the third question, you said it shouldn't be too long. My stomach churned as I scrambled for something to say. But, but, don't make me repeat myself. And he's gone. He's gone. Last one. Last one, let's go. We're gonna, we're gonna burst into tears. If the, I was right. I was literally right. Bursting into tears is the most useless thing that we could have done. This man is not the type of man to be soft-hearted. He he will not have mercy on you. We cannot cry. He will just shut the fuck up and leave. Okay. We're going to go back to our original question. How long are you gonna keep me here? It shouldn't be too long. Like what? You stinking liar. And he's gone. Osgood's gone. In the end, I still didn't get any useful information. Not knowing what to do, I walked over to where he was standing and picked up the cereal bowl from the ground. Is it Captain Crunch? Or Lucky Charms? Or the snowflake one? I want the snowflake ones. I'm a rich man's daughter. I have the right to be picky. I want the snowflake cereal. Considering how I passed out pretty quickly after drinking the water bottle, eating anything from him isn't the best idea. You are absolutely right. Girl, you are absolutely right. But do you want to anger him? Do you really want to anger him? Our stomach just grumbled. God help me. God can't save you here, darling. There is no God. There is only Osgood and his his creepy his creepy AF self. Chapter 2. We finally made it to chapter 2, my friends. Milton, I don't understand why you keep asking me how you should treat the homeless person. If you don't want to kill him, just keep him sedated at all times. He shouldn't cause you any problems. You did remember to clean up everything as I taught you, didn't you? Yes. When will you and everyone else be back? As soon as I find Bancroft. Is there anything you would like me to bring you? This Milton guy is fishy. No. Take care. I'll keep the house clean. I messed up. We need to talk. It's serious. Please reply as soon as possible. Did you get my messages? Is Milton dead? Milton Milton might be dead or otherwise inconvenienced. Silence. It's the piano music again. How long have I been asleep? I subconsciously reached for my phone before remembering that it's been confiscated. My stomach growled in hunger. My head spun. This is literal torture. Literal torture. Just eating a little bit of the cereal shouldn't be too bad if I drink a lot of water afterward. I He might not have poisoned the cereal or even like drugged it because Because we're human, we need food, right? Giving in to my hunger, I reached for the cereal. Oh my god. Why are the sound effects so scary? Why are the sound effects so scary? As I munched on the cereal with classical music ringing in the background, I considered my extremely limited options. If I broke the pitcher, I could potentially create a weapon with the broken pieces. And do what? Attack Osgood? He has a gun. Kill yourself? No, 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 no. Winning against him is not a possibility, but surprising him should still be achievable. And what are we going to do with that? He has a gun. With enough luck and planning, there is a very slim possibility that I could distract him long enough to escape. But why would you trust luck? Luck is the one thing we don't trust here. We cannot trust luck. This man is unhinged. Probably. You see, you don't even trust. No, no, no. We're not trusting luck. We can't afford to trust luck. Luck is never the way out unless you're like some isekai protagonist and the world itself bends to accommodate you. But first, I need to get rid of the shackles around my feet. Do you have a key? With classical music serving as a convenient camouflage, I tried banging the chains as hard as I can against the tiled floor of the bathroom. Maybe the tiles will break. Unfortunately, the damage to the chain was negligible at best. But if I had enough time, would you though? Would you really? It shouldn't be too long. He said that. He said that last chapter. Dear God, I don't have enough time. What am I going to do? What is he going to do? Footsteps. Osgood entered the room. In his hand was a plastic bag full of food and yet another glass pitcher of water. A banana was peeking out of the bag. He's so concerned for our health that he got us our daily portion of fruit. He didn't even look at me before placing the food down and turning to leave. It was as if I was already a dead body. This is dark. I'm sorry. I had to at least say something. Anything. Save. We've already tried all the options. So we're gonna save this. And we're gonna scum save. We're gonna scum save again so that we can look at all the options. Definitely not the last one. He's just gonna leave. Probably the first tree. I didn't know you could play the piano. Silence. So much for trying a different approach. Thanks, Osgood. Thanks. How about do you think you could get me a toothbrush? Cold. Cold. Harsh as well. I feel like he's gonna slam the door for everything. So, am I some sort of pet now? Yeah, I'm right. He slammed the door. Okay, goodbye, Osgood. So much for trying a different approach. Grinding my teeth, I stomped over to inspect the contents of the plastic bag. Fruit. He got me a freaking bag of fruit. It's healthy. Terror and frustration bubbling, I picked up the bag and hurled it towards the door. Apples, bananas, and oranges spilled out around me. Later, once he stops giving us food, we're gonna die. Not bothering to clean up the mess I made, I went into the bathroom, closed the door, and resumed hitting the chain against the tiled floor until my hands started chafing. It was better than doing nothing. Silence. 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 Crap. What's the time? How long has it been since? It doesn't really matter, does it? I'm still stuck here. I think I think we've lost all sense of time. I think we've lost all sense of time. Uh, that's that's not good. Could have been days. Maybe he feeds us once a day. If he feeds us once a day, it would have been like maybe 2 days. But if he's intentionally keeping irregular hours to fuck with our brain, then we're gonna get really fucked up. We're gonna save this in this slot, and we're going to firstly eat something. That's the most important thing. We don't want to pass out. Fruits were still spilled out all around the floor like some kind of still life painting. Some of the bananas were turning brown. I gingerly picked up an orange and started peeling it with my nails. To stave off boredom, I focused on making sure the orange peel remained in one piece. Before I noticed, I had peeled and ate 3 oranges. The peels curled on the mattress like orange snakes. Let us search the room again. I walked around the room, closely inspecting every corner. The paint was peeling off in certain corners. I could see traces of where furniture was moved around. The only new things I found were spider webs and hidden pockets of specks of dust. Besides washing my face a couple of times with cold water, I had totally neglected my hygiene. My hair was so oily that it laid flat on my head like the fur of a wet dog. Hopefully we don't smell like one. That would be disgusting. I was letting myself go. Horrified at the thought, I rushed to the bathroom and got into the shower. There was shampoo, but no conditioner. The only body wash available was generic brand soap. I looked down at the dress I was wearing. My clothing didn't smell any better than my hair, but it's not like I have any replacement. Yeah, because Osgood was so nice to get us new clothes. It's not like he only provided us with the bare minimum necessities. In the end, I ended up washing my underwear while I showered and leaving the rest of my clothing dirty. Beggars can't be choosers. This is so true. Beggars can't be choosers. Try to find a more comfortable place to sleep. I dragged myself up from the floor, flopped down on the mattress. It smelled moldy. For once, I didn't care. And since we're all done, let us keep trying to break the chains. Osgood might hear. I should try to break the chains when Osgood is playing the piano. I'm so bored. Silence. Silence. Get up! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. He just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Sir, please have mercy on me. Terrified and confused, I twitched my head back and forth, trying to make sense of what is happening. Pick those up. What? It is sacrilege to treat perfectly good food like this. Pick it up. Comply. We are not refusing. The man is mad. We are complying. Osgood was literally seething. I had never seen him this angry before. Not wanting to argue with the furious serial killer, it admitted he killed a man. I quickly got off the mattress and started doing what he said. As I picked the bruised apples and the brown spotted bananas, I could feel Osgood's eyes boring into my back. I'm finished. Is there anything else I can fix? My god. He left. Ivy and Mr. Buchanan. Have they noticed I'm gone? Will anyone notice I'm gone? Why am I so stupid? Am I going to die here? No. No, 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 no. I have to stop having these thoughts. This is why I can't stand being alone. When you are alone, you become more aware of everything. Everything feels too quiet, and yet too loud at the same time. And as the silence rages on, you start skirting dangerously close to questions that you'd rather not explore in too much detail. Like existential questions. Questions about your self-worth. Questions about whether anyone will notice or even care that you're gone. You know, while you're trapped with a serial killer who who has a high chance of killing you. Like, will they even realize? I mean, I sure hope you guys will notice me if I'm gone. Right? You guys would, right? No? Oh my god. So mean. So mean. Questions that become louder and harder to ignore. And time. That was the other issue. In my current predicament. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my god, I can't. What is English? In my current predicament, concepts like days, hours, and minutes cease to have any meaning. It's timeless. Minutes could become hours, and hours could become days. The only constant time marker in my life now was the sound of Osgood's piano. And if he's playing the piano at different times every day, we're gonna get so fucked over. So fucked over. Like a clock, Osgood would diligently practice 10 different songs for what seemed like hours regularly. He would play certain songs repeatedly, but it was always 10 distinct songs in total. Then, after he was done playing the piano, he would come upstairs and deliver my food. Whenever he did so, I would do my best to mask my fear and strike up a conversation. Someone had to remind us both that I was still alive. Not really fighting because we're scared of his gun, but we're still alive. Just bread? No peanut butter or jelly to go with? And he left. Chocolates are my favorite. Speaking of which, do you. And he left again. I am. He's just gonna leave no matter what we say. Tomatoes, I see you picked a more healthy food this time. I just I just want some conversation. Is that so hard to ask for, Mr. Osgood? I need stimulation to keep my brain going, you know. I'm gonna lose my brain cells at this rate. Or or maybe he's into that. Maybe. Maybe he's into that. You never know. Maybe he likes having a dumb darling. Although it's a little bit of a stretch to assume that I'm his darling because I'm literally kidnapped, but hey, I'm really thankful for the box of cereal, but maybe yeah, that's life with Osgood. Unfortunately, despite my best attempts, he has not spoken a single word to me since my fruit spilled all over the ground. I mean, it's not even an unintentional spilling. It's like we literally threw it. So I think he's right to be mad. If if he was raised like by that Martin guy, the guy he was texting, if Osgood came from like a poor family and he was raised by that Martin guy, then oh sorry, give me a moment. Ah. But yeah, if he were raised by that Martin guy and he came from like a poor socioeconomic status, then it could be a contributing factor as to why he's so staunch about not wasting food security and all that. Maybe. It's as if my existence pollutes the air he's breathing in. I think this is just his edgelord self, maybe. No, no. We're gonna give him a big fat no, and if only we had the courage to tell him that in the face. But I think he would like just root the shit out of us if we did that to him. So we might legitimately like die. I mean, it's a horror otome. Like, what kind of endings do you think it has? It's gotta be something. It's gotta be death or something worse than death, right? Like, otherwise it wouldn't deserve a horror tag. No, forget about a conversation. He hasn't even looked at me since that incident. Probably because we committed a crime and wasted food in front of him. That's right. Nobody cares about me. You're already a dead man walking. Shut up! I just talked to myself out loud. Uh, step one, lose track of time. Step two, start talking to yourself. Step three, we're going insane. These are like 5 steps to insanity, and we're already on step two. This is really, really bad. If this keeps going on, I'm going to go crazy before he even does anything. Think, Camille. Think. What do you have that Osgood doesn't? Long hair, two two decently sized bouncy balls in the front, one extra hole where he has one. Um, Aside from that, like I think we really don't have anything that he doesn't. Wow, those shoes look good, so good on you. I would kill for your legs. Who is my beautiful little princess? I want you so bad, it's driving me crazy. I didn't catch you last too. That's right, I'm pretty. I mean, you say it like Osgood isn't pretty. Like that's the whole reason why we were attracted to him, right? We thought Osgood was good looking, the whole mysterious man vibe. The whole I'm mysterious, I'm dark, I'm broody, that's the vibe he has. Uh, I don't think this is gonna work out. How? Utterly useless. I like the fact that they had to make me click in order to see these words, but at the same time, that's so scary. That's so scary. It's like a guillotine that's just hanging, waiting to drop down. Osgood hasn't budged before, and that's when I looked my best. Why would he be swayed now? No. At this point, anything that will get a reaction out of Osgood is better than doing nothing. So we're trying Operation Seduction. Having made up my mind, I dropped down on my mattress and closed my eyes. I was going to need my strength for what comes next. Silence. Silence. The piano started playing. It's time. After getting into the bathroom, I took all my clothes off and stepped into the shower. Oh, scrubbing myself and my clothing as clean as possible. Once that was done, I left my dress alone and only put on my bra. The pink of my skin teased through the wet fabric. I stared at the mirror for a few seconds and frowned. Maybe this wasn't provocative enough, but going full on naked was a bit too on the nose. My goal was to get a reaction, not to scare him off. I leaned forward and loosened the straps. There, that should do the trick. Who am I kidding? I look like a second-rate stripper with a stomach ache. He's going to kill me. No, 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 that's not the right mindset. Deep breaths. Smile. Reminds me of Skipper from Penguins of Madagascar. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. He says this while sending the other trees, like, especially private, to do some bullshit that will get him injured. Like, good job, Skipper. Most hands-off boss ever. You can do this. It's not gonna work. I don't hold any expectations of it to work. He's still not looking at me. Well, he doesn't have a choice. Hi. Can. Oh my god, the art changed. Can we put some clothing on now? Sir is mad. Sir is literally mad. My clothing are dirty and wet. Unless you would prefer I go naked, this will have to do. For a moment, Osgood was at a loss for words. Then he rushed towards the mattress, picked up the blanket, and threw it at me. I burst into nervous giggles. Is this all some kind of joke to you? No, I'm just relieved, I guess. The way you have been ignoring me for the past few days scared me. I feel like a piece of broken furniture that you were too lazy to throw out. It's kind of reassuring that I can still get a reaction out of you. Silence. He suddenly came in closer. Osgood's fingers came into contact with my forehead for the briefest moment. Is he going to punch us? Or is he gonna flick us? time. Then he jerked his hand away as if scalded by hot water. Oh, he didn't! He didn't do either! He just touched us! Oh. Bewildered, we stared at each other blankly. After a while, the flush in Osgood's face had faded and his eyes became hard like stone. Have you ever wondered about the other man? Come again? The man who was missing his limbs and tied to a chair in the dining room. Oh, you're just bringing it up, huh? You're just literally gonna bring it up. Don't you ever wonder about what happened to him? The conversation was veering into dangerous territories. I have no idea what you're talking about. Silence. You must think that if you smiled prettily and ignored reality, then things would eventually go your way. I really hate that side of you. So he despises us. He despises us because he thinks we're naive. Probably naive by the way he described us. Well, even an insult is better than being straight up ignored. So overall, this was a success. Too tired to think too deeply about what just happened, I crawled back to my mattress and fell asleep. Silence. Music, music. What? Piano, piano. Sound of a piano. Question mark? I woke to the sight of Osgood bent over me. He just appeared. His eyes are wide. Sir, stop. Stop. It's so scary. He was patting my cheeks so hard that he might as well be slapping me. What are you doing? Waking you up. I have something to show you. Is he gonna show me a corpse? He pointed to a dark shadow in the corner. Half asleep, I squinted at the general direction. Why did he suddenly appear like that? I can't see anything. Then we should get closer, shouldn't we? The fact that he has this particular expression when he says this makes me think that this does not bode well. He might be trying to show us the corpse of the man that he presumably killed. No, I don't think we should. But you're the boss? Yanking me up by the arm, he dragged me towards the undefinable object. The unpleasant smell hit me first before my eyes adjusted to the darkness. Oh my god! My stomach ached faster. My stomach acted faster than my brain. Bile burned my throat as I backed away and struggled not to vomit. Oh my god. 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 This is John. He is your predecessor and the first person I brought here against his will. The first person. But he doesn't say predecessor as in how many. Am I the second person? Am I the third person? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm the second person. I thought it would be a good idea for you two to get acquainted. Why? Why would you show me such a thing? Why? After all, one day you will end up like him. Choking on my own spit. My brain went into overload, trying to find a single acceptable retort that wouldn't make things worse. You psycho. Please, I'll do anything. Well, aren't you going to say something? I, I don't know what to say. I, I'm, I don't know what to say. Even as Camille, even as me, I don't know what to say. I'm, and the music isn't helping. It sounds like a boss battle. His eyes are wide. I Can I have a new set of clothing? Girl, you have guts. You have guts. I would be so terrified that I would just die. I would literally just die. What did I just say? Exactly, what did we just say? If I'm going to die, I'd like to die in a presentable and dignified manner. So far, I have been deprived of necessities such as clean clothing, warm food, and socialization. Do you know I have been brushing my teeth with soap and tissue for the past few days? I've been so lonely that I started talking to myself. Disgusting. If you are going to kill me, please let me die with dignity. Finally finished with my last words, I promptly vomited all over the floor. Ah, so much for wanting to appear dignified. Silence. This isn't how things are supposed to go. This sprite, the half-lidded eyes makes him look more approachable, but when he has them blown open wide, that's like anger. And I'm not fond of that. I completely lost it. Don't be so hard on yourself. You wanted to properly remind me of my place as dead meat, didn't you? You are doing a great job. Now, if you don't have anything else planned, this dead meat is going to go to the bathroom to throw up again. He's judging me. He's definitely judging me. He looks away. He looks almost sweet if he's like this, but then you remember that he killed someone and that we're locked in here and that we're dead meat and that he just showed us a corpse. Like, oh my god. And so I spent the next hour or so emptying the contents of my stomach into the toilet bowl. By the time I staggered out of the bathroom, the corpse of John and Osgood were both gone. The vomit had been wiped up, leaving a dark-colored stain. Beside the mattress was a plastic bowl of ramen and a boiled water in a thermal cup. Silence. But I guess he cares if he's giving us soup, even if it's MSG laden cup ramen soup. But like it's still soup. Soup is good for you after you vomit because you want to wash the gastric acid down. Silence. It was the piano music again. I laid on the mattress and stared at the empty bowl right next to my face. Oh my god! Oh my god! Why? Why did they have to flash that image? Why? Why did they have to flash that image? I did nothing wrong. It was not a dream. Willing my hands to stop trembling, I grabbed onto the empty bowl and clutched it to my heart. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering, but my mind remained abnormally clear as I turned the events of last night over and over again. Instead of killing me after my outburst yesterday, Osgood got me warm food. The cycle could be swayed. The events of last night were proof. Rid, rid, rid. I bit down on my thumb hard. The pain finally stopped the shaking and filled me with a savage triumph. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. The ninth time the piano started playing. The door. Osgood walks in. The food he brought this time was still ramen. But instead of leaving immediately like usual, Osgood sat down next to the wall, opposite to me. You are still going to die soon. I smiled at him sweetly as if nothing had happened. You made your point quite clear yesterday. Silence. I already ordered some clothing. It should take a few days to arrive. My smile slipped for a second, but Osgood was too busy looking away for me to notice. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Silence. The conversation fell silent after that. He seemed to be lost in his thoughts. We're gonna save this so that hopefully we can find out a bit more information about him. When did you start playing the piano? 8. 8 years old? That young, huh? No wonder you're so good at it. Do you plan on going professional in the future? No, it's just a habit. Still, it's impressive. I could never do something for more than 4 months, so I admire how you managed to keep playing the piano over the years. Silence. Oh, we didn't have to save. It allows us to ask him both questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting us get to know him. But we're still gonna die. What was the last book you read? What? I hid my shaking hands behind my back and kept smiling. What was the last book you read? I'm genuinely curious. Silence. The Human Anatomy, an encyclopedia. So he was looking at that to dissect a person, huh? Oh. Did you take anatomy as an elective? No. Right. Silence. And he left. He still left us, but at least we managed to ask him 2 questions. That wasn't too bad. I can do this. I can do this. Now I just have to get myself together before he comes back. Let us do some push-ups. Do more push-ups. Do even more push-ups. How many times can we do push-ups before the game stops us? How many times? Okay, we're gonna do even more push-ups. Push-ups. Push. Oh. Oh, it stopped us. The 10th time the piano started playing. The food he brought this time was a bag of cucumbers? Your choice of food is always so interesting. They were on sale. Oh, okay, so you feed me the garbage food. Are you allergic to cucumbers? What? No! It's just kind of funny how you only bring me one type of food at a time. Silence. Do you live alone here? No. My family is on a business trip. They will be back soon. I waited for him to elaborate, but he clearly considers the topic to be over. You never did tell me about your old school. It was a really small school. Ah, ah, ah. There were only 7 people in my grade. And I thought our current high school was small. Do you miss your former classmates? No, it was inappropriate to form any bonds there. How inappropriate is inappropriate to form any bonds there? It's like saying maybe he moved a lot, so if he made friends, like he couldn't keep up with them or something. Maybe like because if you have someone who is uprooted often and they keep switching schools, then like even keeping up with a friend can be very very difficult. I mean, certainly it's easier with social media, but there's always going to be like new friends and things that you can't keep up with because you're no longer participating in the same events, you're no longer seeing each other every day. So, admittedly, it takes longer to fall out of touch with friends with in this day and age with the media, but it's not impossible. Besides, it is unlikely that I will ever see them again. Why? Because you killed them? Suspicious, Osgood. Suspicious. He's gonna leave, isn't he? What kind of school did he go to? After a few more moments of silence, Osgood got up to leave. I impulsively reached out and grabbed the corner of his jacket. See you tomorrow, Osgood. Before he could push me away, I quickly let go, immensely pleased of the fact that my hand no longer trembled. In order not to be dead meat, I have to not act like dead meat. Silence. Osgood turns away, and then he leaves. He's gone. I am going to do more push-ups. Push-ups, push-ups, push-ups. Sharpen the piece of glass. The 14th time the piano started playing. We've gone straight to 14. Food choice this time was apples, nacho chips, and gummy bears. I ripped open the plastic bag of gummy bears and held it to Osgood. Want some? He looked at me as if I were offering him a dead animal of some sort. I shrugged and popped them handful into my mouth. These are my favorites. Thanks. Silence. So, what do you do when you're not doing homework? When you're not playing the piano? I clean and do my homework. But what do you do for fun? Cleaning is fun. He's a house husband. Or he would be if he didn't kill people. Besides, this place is large and Bancroft didn't have time to hire any maids. Silence. Who's Bancroft, huh? Milton Bancroft? Where did you live before you came here for school? Silence. Somewhere hotter than here. Really? I thought you came from one of the Nordic countries. Somewhere with lots of snow and cold winters. He looked at me with confusion. Why would anyone want to live in a cold and miserable place? Is it really miserable, though? I heard those places were ranked as some of the happiest countries in the world. Osgood looked absolutely stunned at the revelation and spent the next 15 minutes or so stewing over the fact. The innocence on his face was startlingly genuine. Disturbed, I turned my head away and played with my nails. Silence. As he picked up the empty bowls and was about to leave, I called out to him. If it's possible, could you get me a book? The thicker the better. Or a puzzle, a crossword, or anything similar. It would be nice to have something to kill time. Silence. I'm going to kill you eventually. You do remember that, don't you? Silence. That's exactly why I'm making so many requests. I'm trying to enjoy my last days. And he leaves. Don't think negative thoughts. Don't think negative thoughts. Don't think negative thoughts. Don't think negative thoughts. We can't think negative thoughts. The moment we think it, that's it. We're gone. Completely gone. Don't think negative thoughts. Don't think negative thoughts. The 15th time the piano started playing. Oh my god. Oh my Oh my god, what was that? I jumped at the sound and almost fell over. Osgood's arms were full of cardboard boxes and plastic bags. One fell to the floor. He picked it up after placing the rest in the middle of the room. Then he sat down in his usual place next to the wall and furthest away from me. I got you the things you wanted. For a second, I was reminded of Egyptian pharaohs being buried with their belongings packed into golden boxes and jars, like their internal organs. Thank you. Pushing my morbid thoughts away, I went over and started unpacking the boxes. Besides the canned beans and ramen, I also found 3 ugly dresses, toiletries, one 500-piece puzzle, 2 books with yellowing pages, and newspaper clippings with the crossword section cut out. I examined the books more carefully. To my surprise, they were romances. Are these books yours? No, I found them in the basement. They probably belonged to Milton. Your brother reads romance for fun? Most likely. Milton claims he's reading them for research purposes, but he has far too many of them full. He suddenly stopped. How did you know Milton was my brother? I guessed. So tell me more about Milton. You seem to be close to him. Why do you want to know? Because I want to know more about you? Please? It's not like I can tell anyone else. He's considering. He's considering our request. He's thinking about it. Milton is 10 years older than me. Our oldest brother, Bancroft, was always busy with work and other things. So Milton was the one who made sure I was fed and did everything I was supposed to do. So he basically raised you? That's kind of sweet. Milton is anything but sweet. He's the type to smile and speak in soft tones while beating you senseless for breaking one of his many rules. I respect him a lot. Sounds terrible. Sounds like a yandere. Sounds like being a yen that is, like, genetically runs in the family. I've said too much. He's left. He's gone. After he's gone, I laid down on the carpet among the packages and stared down at the ceiling, replaying the dialogue and dissecting every word over and over again. Silence. Things were going well. Almost too well. Unless he is a very good actor, something was not adding up. Do some push-ups. Do more push-ups. Take a shower. The 18th time the piano started playing. Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. Question mark? Why did he move closer? Why did he move? Why is he moving closer? What's going on? Is the book that good? I screamed and threw the book at his face. It bounced off and hit the floor with a thud. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. He ignored the fact that I had just hit his face and picked the weapon up. This is the first time I've seen you so focused on something. Is it really that entertaining? It's not just entertaining. It's wild. This is the first time I read a romance novel where the main love interests are the heroine's angry stepson, a scam artist, and the heroine's obsessed half-brother. Sounds like garbage. Oh, sorry. Sounds like garbage. It's one huge dumpster fire. But that's what makes it so entertaining. You never know what sordid things the characters will be doing next. I'm trying to read it as slowly as possible in order to savor every moment. Isn't this supposed to be a romance book? How is any of this considered romance? His voice held contempt mixed with a trace of naivete. What? What is that? Crying. BRB going to Google it. What is that word?
Naivete.
Naivete. Naivete, which is basically naive. It just basically tells you that Osgood doesn't know jack shit about romance. Naivete. Interesting. The arrogant yet clueless words of someone with little experience. If you were the heroine, who would you choose? What? Right? You probably need a little background information for each bachelor before you can choose. The stepson is 10 years younger than the heroine, and arguably the least complicated of the three choices. He resented the heroine out of principle when he was younger, and is currently deeply buried in self-hatred over his budding attraction to her. The scam artist is the heroine's first love and the most balanced out of the three. He was the one who helped the heroine fake her identity so she could marry the late Earl, though a falling out in the future is possible due to conflicting interests. And finally, you have the obsessed half-brother, the legitimate younger son of another lord. The heroine had helped him scheme and dispose of the older brother when she was younger, but then she ran away. The two have a complex relationship, and he is arguably the one who knows her the best. Are you describing love interests or the heroine's enemies? I don't think the book differentiates between the two. So who would you pick? Silence. To my surprise, he seems to be seriously thinking about the question. More silence. He's thinking. He's thinking he needs the time. They're all lousy love interests. It's hard to pick. No one. I'd rather die. That's so true, though. Is that so? I'm personally rooting for the stepson. He reminds me of you. Goodbye. He's gone. As soon as the door closed, I buried my face into my palms and tried not to scream. No, I shouldn't be frustrated. This was progress. He would have left without a word before. I need to believe. Push ups, push ups, push ups. Push ups, push ups, push ups. Push ups, push ups. He reminds me of you. Silence. We switched to Osgood's POV. The 21st time the piano started playing. I was busy categorizing the pieces of the puzzle on the ground when Osgood entered. 3 sheets of crossword puzzles lay unfinished beside me. Oh good, you came just in time. Want to help me finish the puzzle? Don't you think you're a little bit too relaxed? No shit, Sherlock. I'm faking it till I make it. Yes, I'm going to die soon. Help me, please. It's gonna take forever if I try to finish it alone. Silence. Later. I think we made good progress today. Let's take a break. It's not finished yet. Yes, but we need to take a rest so that we can finish it later. You can take a break if you want. I'll try to finish it as soon as possible. Oh god. How does one go low? I'll try to finish it as soon as possible. I shrugged and lay down, stretching out my limbs like a starfish. Cracks in the ceiling stared back at me. Sorry, I keep yawning. So, how did the book end? I was surprised. Osgood was holding a puzzle in his hand, and his gaze was not directed to me. Still, it was the first time he asked me an actual question instead of giving a half-veiled threat. Did you not finish the book? Oh no, I finished. The ending was pretty surprising. The evil half-brother and the scam artist killed each other. The stepson ran away, never to be seen again after a drunken night with the heroine. However, the heroine managed to get pregnant and secure her position by giving birth to the only living heir of the house. So I guess it's not completely a tragedy. She did get what she wanted. But it was just like what you said. She ended up with no one. That's a terrible ending. You don't like it? The heroine started the story bitter and alone. Ending the story bitter, alone, and rich is hardly an improvement. He went back to focusing on the puzzle. I turned my head to observe him more closely. The artificial light coming from the ceiling lights softened his features, while his thick lashes hid the coldness of his eyes. At this moment, he looked so much like a normal high school boy. I could even convince myself to forget who he actually was. Instead of facing reality, I could believe that I was spending time with my crush. A stoic guy who talked about romance novels with me and was serious about puzzles. And I needed to believe. I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe in it so badly that I held my breath when looking at him, afraid that even the smallest of movements could shatter the illusion. And I needed to make Osgood believe too. Oh, oh, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. The 22nd time the piano started playing. Oh, you finished early today. You usually complete at least 10 songs before you stop practicing. The puzzle pieces should be in the box. He started walking towards the puzzle, but I blocked his way. Don't you think it's such a waste to put it right back into the box? You worked so hard on it. You should frame it and hang it in your room. Silence. I'll go see if this house has one. Later. Is this frame okay? It's a little big, but it should be fine. Since we didn't place a board underneath the puzzle from the start, we have to do this carefully. Here, hold this. Later. Well, it's a little crude, but at least it got into frame in one piece. I would call it a minor victory. I wanted to say this a while ago, but your standards aren't very high, are they? And if this doesn't fit your high standards, you can leave it here with me. I reached for the frame puzzle with both hands, but he got to it before me and lifted it over his head. Without thinking, I stood on my tiptoes to grab for it. The action startled Osgood and he staggered backwards, causing me to lose my balance and trip. We toppled toward the floor in an ungainly mess of tangled limbs. When my face hit his chest, it was like hitting a wall. The impact sent my head spinning. By the time my sight returned to normal, Osgood was already a good 4 meters away from him. The picture clutched to his chest like a shield. Man so scared of a tiny, defenseless woman that he has to use a picture frame as a shield. Head still aching, I slowly sat up and grimaced. Not even going to help me up? How cold. What's the point in any of this? I'm never going to. I'm sorry. His voice was hesitant and restrained, just like the steps he took toward me. He stopped 2 feet away from me and extended his hand. I expected his hands to be as cold as his eyes, but they were surprisingly hot. Does he have a fever? Is he sick? Are you okay? I lifted my hand and placed it on his forehead. Why is he still holding my hand? You have a fever. Take the puzzle back and go rest, okay? I tried to tug my hand away from his, but it wouldn't budge. Look, if you want to hold my hand, that's fine. But I think you should go to bed. He continued to stare and hold on to my hand. It was as if he had never seen a girl's hand before, and maybe he hasn't. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe we're the first girl he touched. I suddenly became very conscious of his heavy breathing as he slowly brought my hand closer and closer to his face. He suddenly dropped my hand, shoved the puzzle into my arms, and then ran away. Door slam. I stood there paralyzed for a while. Then I slowly walked back to the mattress. Sleepy. And I slowly walked back to the mattress and curled up into a ball. Stop overreacting. You finally got him to not view you as dead meat. Play it cool. Don't ruin everything. This is trash. I don't understand why you read these romance novels, Milton. Of course you don't. If you can understand the charm of these novels, then you wouldn't still be single. Romance is overrated. In the grand scheme of things, there are just more pressing issues to worry about, aren't there? Especially considering our situation. Silence. Let me ask you this. Who is the person you spend the most time with your entire life? Your parents? Your children? Your siblings? Your friends? Wrong. It's your partner. Your parents will die. Your children, friends, and siblings would all eventually go off to find their own significant other. When it comes down to it, it's your partner who will be the one to stay when all the others are gone. And romance, Osgood, is one of the more satisfying ways to keep a partner. Don't look so worried. You're still young. Plenty of time to figure things out. Speaking of which, legs or boobs? I like hands. Pink blood, pink blood, pink blood, pink blood. Oh my god, why is there pink blood? This is Danganronpa. I've secretly entered the world of Danganronpa. To be honest, I expected to starve today due to Osgood's fever. But here he is, on time as usual. Oh, what did I do? Osgood, are you feeling better? Yes. As if. He looks like a resurrected corpse. He looks like death warmed up. Maybe you should take it easy for today and go back to bed. Silence. You're right. I should rest, shouldn't I? He turned around as if to leave the room. And instead of walking out the door, he stood still. Osgood? He reached out a hand to lean against the doorframe and promptly collapsed on the floor. Osgood! He groaned, but gave no other response even when I shook him again. His body burned like a furnace. You can make sure he never wakes up. The thought sent chills down my spine. For a second, I imagined myself pulling out the shard of glass I had been hiding below my mattress and plunging it into his neck. His eyes opening in shock as his mouth opened and closes like a dying fish. I clasped a hand over my mouth to stop myself from retching, telling myself repeatedly that he deserved it, did nothing to lessen my nausea. Silence. Guess that option is permanently out the window. Sighing again, I grabbed both his arms and started to drag him towards the mattress. His long legs trailed along the floor like two wooden logs. Despite the distance being no more than 20 feet away, I had to stop during the middle to catch my breath. In the end, I wound up rummaging through the cardboard box and found one of the ugly dresses he got for me. Then I went to the bathroom and ran the dress through water, turning it into a makeshift ice pack. It left a leaky trail as I walked back to where Osgood was. This was far from ideal, but it wasn't like I could search around the house for a better alternative. After wiping down Osgood's body and forcing some water down his throat, I placed a wet rag on Osgood's forehead and waited. Silence. Ugh, my head. Dad, you're up. Do you feel okay? I'm fine, sweetie. Could you be a darling and get me a glass of water and a bite to eat? Thanks, sweetie. You're a literal lifesaver.
Should we start cleaning up? The people last night left a huge mess.
Don't worry about it. Charles will take care of it.
Mr. Buchanan wasn't happy about it last time.
You worry too much, Camille. Charles might get upset about the party for a little while, but I'll make it up to him. He never stays angry for long. Now, where do you want to go for brunch?
Silence.
Camille?
Osgood, you're up. How are you feeling?
Silence. Better. The wet dress that I had placed on his forehead now lies beside the pillow. He peered down at it as if it might move any second. Move at any second. Silence. Thank you. He said thanks. He said thanks, that's so sweet. Yeah, no problem. Silence. You were talking in your sleep earlier. You and your father seemed close.
Oh, we got along fine.
There was an awkward pause. We were now both in uncharted waters. Eventually, Osgood spoke. I'm sorry. You don't have to talk if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. I just haven't talked about him in a while. My dad was a model who didn't really make it big, but he was really kind and spoiled me a lot. He died a few years back from a car crash, though.
The discomfort was apparent on Osgood's face, and he opened his mouth to mumble a half apology. I waved my hand to shush him. Why did I say that in Osgood's voice? I waved my hand to shush him.
No, don't apologize. I miss him, but Dad fretted over every wrinkle and grey hair. Living to a ripe old age was never really on his agenda. What about you? What were your parents like?
I don't really know them. Bancroft said that they went into hiding in the Middle East, but Milton tells me they're dead.
I see.
Silence. I need to feed you.
I stopped him when he started to get up. It's fine. I won't starve to death if I don't eat right away. You should rest for a bit longer.
He tugged his jacket back. You shouldn't skip meals. With that he left, his posture stiff like a soldier going off to war. The war of love, maybe. When Osgood came back, he had so much food in his arms that it was falling out. Chips, instant noodles, raw vegetables, fresh fruits, and a large family pack of assorted candies. There was even a random baguette. Instead of placing them in the middle of the room like he used to, he brought the food to me, bending down to lay each item down one by one around me like giving offerings at a temple. You should eat more. And he's gone. If he could still play the piano without missing a note, then he should be fine. Right? The 29th time the piano started playing. Here's the rest of Milton's collection.
It's all romance?
It's the only thing he reads. Milton is such. I don't even have the words to describe Milton. The man only consumes romance. Silence. Silence. My god, he's suddenly coming. Why is he moving closer? Why is he moving closer? Oh my god. And he had the open eye sprite again. Do you need something? No. The 37th time.
Osgood, clap your hands together like this. Confusion? It's a personality test. How your hands are placed is supposed to reveal whether you are outgoing, responsible, or a perfectionist. And according to this personality test, you are an outgoing and smooth person? Wait, that can't be right. 39th time the piano started playing. What's this? It's supposed to be an omelette. Ah, it's your first time cooking, isn't it? Silence. The 41st time the piano started playing. Is there something on my face? No. You tend to stare at me a lot, you know. It's only fair that I oogle back at some point. Silence. And so time melted into a continuous stream, made indistinguishable by the countless, meaningless activities that filled each day. Before I realized it, the size of my world had shrunk down to the size of a single room, and Osgood was the only other inhabitant. It was a slow sort of suffocation, a leaden dread that would snake up your back and wrap itself around your neck when you were all alone. It was as if your body was no longer your own as you slowly, slowly sunk into the bottom of the ocean. I am ashamed to admit that I had screamed into my pillow on more than one occasion when no one was looking, venting my hysteria and exhausting myself to feel alive. Ever since he collapsed, Osgood seemed to start treating me like a human being. Finally. Unfortunately, his fever never went away. He keeps claiming that he's fine, but his shaking hand and deathly pale complexion says otherwise. Silence. Despite literally not knowing what day it is, I somehow feel that I am running out of time. The 45th time the piano started playing. You should see a doctor. Osgood ignored me and continued to lay out the cutlery and plates. Today's food was an omelette so golden and fluffy that it could be on the cover of a food magazine. We might stop after today. As in this in-game day. Is it a day? I've lost track of time. I'm just like Camille. I've lost track of time. After the 40 something session of Osgood's piano playing, we're gonna stop for the night and we'll continue chapter 2 next time. Okay? So last little bit. Hard to imagine he was still producing charcoal a couple of days ago. I'm serious. You don't look so hot these days. I said I'm fine. You are not fine. The food is getting cold. You should eat. Well, I tried. Shrugging, I took a bite out of the omelette. It was better than anything I had eaten for a while. I turned towards Osgood to thank him for the food, only to find him staring at me again. He's been doing this a lot lately. Silence. Are you still going to kill me? Osgood rubbed his hand over his face, as if trying to avoid the question. I don't know. You don't know? Silence. Everything is such a mess. You could start sorting the mess out by letting me go. I took one more bite of omelette and walked over to where Osgood was. Up close, I could feel the heat radiating off him. He really isn't feeling well. Silence. If you won't go to the hospital, is there anything I can do to make you feel better? As soon as I said these words, he threw his arms around me and we toppled to the floor. I was so surprised that I did not attempt to struggle, but my mind kept going through the worst possible scenarios. But to my surprise, He didn't do anything else. His skin was burning against mine, and his hot breath grazed my neck. But he held on to me as if I were a security blanket. Silence from our great Osgood. I think Milton is dead. I think they are all dead. For the first time since I've met him, his voice was shaking. I struggled to get my arms out of his grip and hug him back. Silence. I keep telling myself that they will come back, but it's been months. Milton and Bancroft have never gone this long without contacting me. They won't tell me anything, but I know Bancroft got our family involved in something dangerous. That's why we moved to this country in the first place. And his voice cracked, and he stopped talking. But he hugged me closer as his breathing became even more labored. He didn't really need me to say anything, so I kept quiet and continued to let him cling to me. His body was quite heavy, and I felt a bead of his sweat trickle down to my forehead. This day is a very long day. But instead of the usual smell of sweat and salt, Osgood's scent was oddly sweet. Strange combination of candy and wine. It wasn't unpleasant. Surrounded by a combination of heat and a strangely syrupy scent, I eventually drifted to sleep. And this time, I dreamed of nothing. I think this is a good stopping point. It's been slightly over 2 hours. I think we will just take a quick peek at what's the next slide, and then we are going to save and stop here for the night. I hope you've all enjoyed this ITY. I was gonna say IYT, but that's wrong. It's ITYH, and I hope you've all enjoyed. And it seems as though shit is getting real. It certainly deserves a horror tag, and I hope the jump scares didn't affect you too much. Yeah. So let us save. One more slide. Nothing. Okay, very good. There's nothing here. Quick save complete. Let us save it in this final slot. And this is where we are going to stop. We're gonna stop. We're gonna continue on from here next time. Okay, thank you all very much. I will see you all next time. Bye bye. Have a good day, a good night, whatever time it is for you. I hope you enjoy. Good night.